You know that feeling when you realise you've been lied to? Not a little white lie, a big one. The kind that costs you thousands of dollars and puts your family at risk every time you get behind the wheel. Right now, at this very moment, one of the biggest betrayals in automotive history just went public. And if you drive a GM vehicle made in the last decade, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you. Because that smooth shift you feel when you accelerate onto the highway, that confidence you have every time you merge into traffic, it's built on a lie. Allison Transmission just walked away from General Motors after 98 years. Nearly a century of partnership, gone. And here's the thing nobody's talking about. They didn't just leave. They admitted something on their way out the door, something about your transmission. However, it's something GM definitely didn't want you to know. Let me paint you a picture. You're sitting in your Silverado, your Tahoe, your Escalade. You paid $50, $60, maybe $70,000 for that truck. You trusted the name. You trusted the engineering. And every single time you shift gears, you're using what Allison just called, and I'm not making this up, a cost-reduced derivative. That's corporate speak. You want to know what it actually means? We'll get there. But first, you need to understand how deep this goes. For almost a century, Allison Transmission was the gold standard. Military vehicles, heavy-duty trucks, the transmissions that could take abuse, that would destroy anything else on the market. They built transmissions for World War II. They built transmissions that hauled cargo across continents. They powered vehicles that went to the moon. And for 98 years, they did it side by side with General Motors. Until 3 weeks ago. Now here's where it gets interesting. You probably think your 10-speed automatic is basically the same technology that's in those heavy-duty Allison transmissions, right? Scaled down, sure, but same DNA, same engineering philosophy, same reliability. That's what the dealership told you. That's what the commercials implied. That's what you paid for. You didn't get that. See, about 12 years ago, GM made a decision. They looked at Allison's transmissions, these beautifully over-engineered pieces of machinery, and they thought, what if we could make something that looks like this, shifts kind of like this, but costs us about 40% less to manufacture? And that's exactly what they did. They took the design language, the shift pattern, the spec sheet, and they built their own version. Cheaper materials, simplified hydraulics, reduced tolerances, components that barely meet the minimum engineering standards instead of exceeding them. Allison knew. They've known for years, but they stayed quiet because, well, business is business. Partners don't publicly trash each other until the partnership ends. And now Allison's engineers are finally saying what they've been thinking for over a decade. Your 10-speed isn't an Allison transmission. It's a knockoff. Think about that word for a second. Knockoff. That's what you wear when you buy a fake Rolex on a street corner. That's what you get when you order designer jeans from a suspicious website. But we're not talking about a watch or jeans. Right, we're talking about the component that controls every single moment of acceleration, deceleration, and power delivery in your £40,000 vehicle travelling at 70 miles per hour on the interstate with your family inside. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, so it's not a real Allison, but it works fine, right? I've driven 50,000 miles, no problems. And maybe you're right, maybe you're one of the lucky ones. But let me tell you about the others. There's a GM owner in Texas, bought a brand new Silverado in 2021. 48,000 miles later, the transmission starts hunting between gears. That's when it can't decide which gear it should be in, so it just keeps shifting. Up, down, shuddering the whole truck. He takes it to the dealer, they tell him it's normal. It's a software adaptation period, they say. And come back if it gets worse. 6,000 miles later, it gets worse. Total transmission failure. And here's the kicker, his warranty had just expired. $12,000 for a replacement. But that's just one guy, right? Isolated incident. Except it's not. There are forums, thousands of posts. Owners comparing notes on shudder, slippage, harsh downshifts, delayed engagement. And the pattern is always the same. It starts subtle. Maybe you notice a little hesitation when you're pulling out of a parking spot. Maybe there's a slight vibration at highway speed that wasn't there before. You ignore it because it's barely noticeable. And then, usually right after the warranty expires, it escalates. Here's what Allison's engineers are saying now that they're free to talk. The 10-speed GM uses in most of their trucks, and SUVs has a fundamental design compromise. It's built to feel smooth and refined during the warranty period, but it achieves that smoothness through a clutch-pack design that trades long-term durability for short-term performance. Translation: it's engineered to be impressive on a test drive and survive just long enough to not be GM's financial problem anymore. You want to know the really crazy part? Allison offered to help. Back in 2015, when GM was developing this transmission, Allison's engineers gave feedback. They pointed out the weak points. They suggested modifications that would have added maybe $800 to the manufacturing cost but doubled the lifespan. GM said no, because $800 times several million vehicles is real money. Your long-term reliability wasn't worth the calculation. And now Allison's done. They've walked away, and in their exit statement, buried in corporate language that most people won't read carefully, they made it clear they don't want their name anywhere near these transmissions. They don't want to be associated with the failure rates. They don't want to field the calls from angry owners who think they bought an Allison product when they definitely did not. But here's the thing that should really worry you. Allison didn't leave because of the past 12 years. They left because of what's coming next. See, transmissions are about to get way more complex. Electric hybrid systems, multi-speed EVs, are new torque management systems for vehicles that need to tow heavy loads while also maximising efficiency. And Allison looked at GM's approach to engineering, their cost-cutting philosophy, their warranty period-focused design strategy, and they said, "We can't put our name on what you're about to build. Think about what that means. The company that helped win World War II, that built transmissions for lunar rovers, that engineered solutions for the harshest conditions on Earth, looked at GM's next generation of products and decided their reputation was worth more than the partnership. They saw the blueprints, they saw the budget constraints, they saw the corner cutting, and they walked away from nearly a century of history because they knew what was coming. Now you're probably wondering, what do I do? If you own one of these vehicles, what's your move? Here's the brutal truth. If you're under warranty and you notice anything weird, anything at all, document it. Get it in writing at the dealer. Take videos. Keep records. Timestamp everything. Because the second that warranty expires, you're on your own. And if you're already past warranty and you're not having problems, you're playing roulette. Some of these transmissions last, some don't. And there's no way to know which category you're in until it's too late. There's a guy in Florida who documented everything. Every weird noise, every strange shift, every visit to the dealer. When his transmission failed at 62,000 miles, just outside warranty, he had 18 service visits on record. 18 times he told them something was wrong, and 18 times they told him it was normal. When it finally catastrophically failed, they still denied his warranty claim, said it was lack of maintenance. His records didn't matter. Their decision was final. But let's zoom out for a second. Because this isn't really about transmissions. This is about trust. You trusted a brand. You trusted a legacy. You trusted that when you paid premium money, you were getting premium engineering. And instead you got a cost-reduced derivative. A knockoff. Something designed to be good enough for long enough. And here's the question nobody wants to ask. If they cut corners here, where else did they cut corners? What other components in your vehicle are engineered to the minimum viable standard rather than the maximum quality standard? Your brake system, your steering rack, your electronic stability control, your fuel system, or your suspension components. Once you realize one major system was built with planned obsolescence in mind, how do you trust anything else? Think about it. If they were willing to compromise on the transmission, one of the most critical components in the entire vehicle, what does that say about everything else? Every part that you can't see, every system that you assume is over-engineered because that's what you paid for. Allison Transmission just told you everything you need to know. They voted with their feet. After 98 years, they decided their reputation was more valuable than GM's money. And now you have to decide, do you keep trusting a company that calls knockoff engineering an acceptable business strategy? Or do you start asking harder questions about what you're really buying? Because that smooth shift you feel right now, it might not last. And when it fails, GM's going to tell you it's normal wear and tear. They're going to say you didn't maintain it properly. They're going to show you fine print that absolves them of responsibility. They're going to charge you $12,000, maybe $15,000, maybe more, to replace it with another cost-reduced derivative that's going to fail the exact same way in another 60,000 miles. Allison knows that's why they left. After nearly a century, they looked at what GM had become, and they couldn't stay silent anymore. They couldn't keep pretending that what you're driving has anything to do with their engineering standards. They couldn't keep watching their name get associated with failures that they warned GM about a decade ago. The real question is, what are you going to do about it? Because right now, thousands of GM owners are finding out the hard way. Their transmissions are failing, their dealers are shrugging, their warranties are expired, and they're stuck with a $15,000 repair bill on a truck that's supposed to last 200,000 miles but barely made it past 50. You thought you were buying American reliability. You thought you were buying proven technology. You thought you were buying peace of mind. You thought that Chevy badge meant something, that GM's heritage counted for something. What you actually bought was a timer, And it's counting down. Every mile, every shift, every time you accelerate onto that highway with your family in the truck. Allison walked away because they saw what you couldn't. The math doesn't work. The engineering doesn't hold up. And the company that used to stand behind their products now hides behind warranties and fine print. 98 years. Gone. Because some executives decided that your trust was worth less than their profit margin.